Hello everyone, and welcome to the Blue 5 basketball channel.
Today, I'm going to be interviewing you, and I have a whole bunch of questions to ask. So we'll just start at the beginning. What is your middle name?
Wow, really? That's how we started? My middle name is actually Franklin, very presidential.
What type of music do you listen to?
I listen to a little bit of everything. It depends on the occasion. When I'm working out, one of my favorite all-time hype songs ever is Tupac's My Ambition as a Rider. Maybe too old for you. I first heard it when I was in 11th grade in the state basketball tournament, and I played out of my mind. I had 40 in the game to get us to the Final Four, and my go-to hype song.
Do you ever get tired of basketball?
At times I did. It's such a grind, especially if you're trying to achieve great things, whether as individual or as a team. I had to step back and take a break from it. And I think that time was good. Basketball is something I've been working at since I've been 6 years old. I mean, nonstop, every day, concrete, dirt, gyms, whatever, because I had this childhood dream of playing in the NBA one day. And so I constantly had to work at it. And, by the time I had completed a 12-year professional career, I started to get injured, and you start to see a shell of yourself. You're not as quick, you don't jump as high, and those things can be a little discouraging at times. So that was the time for me to kind of step back and take a break, and that's when I got into really mentoring, kids. Let me step away from the court and mentor these young athletes and teach them things and give them knowledge that I didn't have when I was their age to help them along their journey.
What matters more than one-on-one coaching?
I think different settings are advantageous for different kids. Some kids do really well with one-on-one. Some kids do better in group settings because some kids have a different level of competitive fire. For me, I would have loved to do things on my own. It's actually the way I did them, working on my weaknesses. But I love the group setting because even if you didn't know I was competing against you, I was, because I want to win every drill. It's kind of the way you measure yourself. It's different for each kid.
What do kids need in between training sessions?
One, because in today's generation of youth sports, there seems to be so much pressure put on the kid, whether it's getting offers or NIL money or playing time or exposure, whatever it is. I think it's important to be a kid. Take a break and be a kid. Still go have fun. I know this in-house video game is a thing, but go grab a friend and go grab ice cream and just talk about life. Go see a movie. Do something different. Be a kid. It's important.
What is the number one piece of advice that you would give to a kid who wants to get better at basketball?
If you really want to get better at basketball, you have to work like you've never worked before. Now, you have to sacrifice a lot. I would also say be organized with your preparation. For me, when I was young, I had a routine I did before school. I had another routine I did after school. Then I had another routine after that. And, I know people are listening and say, man, that's 3 times a day. Well, if you want to get good at basketball, you have to put in the time. You have to have a strong work ethic. I think the biggest thing that kids never hear is you have to embrace challenges. No matter how good or bad you are, you're gonna face challenges. Whether you didn't make the team, so what am I gonna do now? Am I gonna be discouraged and just quit? Or am I gonna find a way to work so that next year, when it comes time for tryouts, I'm ready and I'm prepared? You're gonna have ups and downs. Even the great players, they've all failed. But they're great because they are resilient and they persevere through all adversity that they face, and they just keep going, and I think that's what makes them great.
What is the worst advice that kids hear in basketball?
People, whether it's parents or coaches, people that the kids actually look up to for advice, telling them how good they are at such a young age, because I think that knowledge breeds complacency. Once you get complacent, you're done. It's important for kids to stay humble and stay hungry. Those two things go hand in hand if you want to be a great player. My coach, Flip Saunders, God bless him, he's passed away, but was a great coach, and he would always say, he was my coach with the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I was 19 to 22 years old when I played for him. And I would put a lot of pressure on myself to go out there and perform, and I failed a lot. And he would always tell me, you're never as good as you think you are, but you're also never as bad as you think you are. You're always somewhere in between. And I think it's important that we keep the young kids in between so they can stay hungry and keep working.
What are things that parents can say in order to help with the parent side of that balance?
I think the simple phrase is be better than yesterday. I think it's just as simple as that. Be better than yesterday, and keep them striving for something, and depending on how good the kid is, give them a goal that's maybe not even attainable. They'll keep working for it. Shoot for the stars, and if you fall short, you're still successful. It's that approach. You want your kids to, keep competing and keep working.
What about kids who have all these people saying, you're so amazing, you're so amazing? What are the thoughts that they should be having in order to keep them at that level?
You should have a goal that they are focused on. Until you reach it, you're continuously working. And this is where I fell short as a player. So my dream was to get to the NBA. And I got there at a very young age, at 19 years old. And I was like, oh, okay, I made it. Well, my mistake was once you reach that goal, then you got to find more goals, because you got to keep ascending. And so once I got there, I was like, okay, I made it, and complacency set it. And then you've been so good for so long, you're like, oh, well, I'm good enough to get through. And I found out the hard way. No, you're not. You have to keep going. And once you reach that goal, along the way, you should be finding other goals. Like for me, it was get to the NBA. So now it should be, okay, how do you become an NBA star? And then how do you become an NBA All-Star? How do you win a championship? You gotta keep going.
What is one drill in your experience that you hated, but you definitely needed it?
Anything involving conditioning without the basketball. Always hated it, but I always needed it. Because to be at your best, you have to be in the best shape. Suicides and 17s. Those things, if I hear those words, I just break out in hives. Nobody likes to condition without the ball in the game of basketball, but you have to have it.
Why do you think that kids learn better with visuals than just having it explained to them, or hearing it, or reading it on a paper?
I think seeing is believing. If you see it, you can believe it. You say it, yeah, okay, whatever. And that's why film study is so important. You could tell a kid, hey, you didn't do this, you do that, and they may go back and forth with you, but when you sit them down and watch film with it and they see it, okay, coach, I got it. Seeing is believing. And if it's something you're teaching them, if you can have an example of a college player or an NBA player doing it, then you got them. Seeing is believing.
I think that's why our app is going to be so effective, because we show them exactly what they need to do.
It's going to be great, and not only that, you could store those drills in the library. You can also go back and, oh man, I'm even better at this now, doing it just like the demonstration.
How does improvement on the court translate to life skills?
I think one of the biggest probably is teamwork. Most of the time, anything you do in life, you're going to be working with a group of people, no matter what you're doing. If you're a surgeon, you're going to have a team in there, doing surgery. If you're a lawyer, you're going to have, a team of people, doing things for you. So teamwork is one. Discipline is another. Accountability is a big one, especially in a team sport. Everybody has a job to do. And if you're working for any company, you're going to have a responsibility that people are going to depend on you to take care of. And I think the biggest thing, if you want to be successful in life, is competition. You get to go out there every night and compete. And we all know in the real world, if you want anything, you got to compete.
What is more important than winning at a young age in basketball?
Learning to be a good person. Because winning is great, but you have to know how to handle winning. When you win, you don't want to be the guy that's gloating and bragging, because at some point you're going to lose. And so you want to understand and learn how to handle winning. And I think being a better person is more important than anything. And if you're a good person, you have a better chance of being a good basketball player. One, automatically you become coachable. Like, you're probably a great teammate. I can count on you, and you're gonna probably be at a young age already taking those steps to leadership, to being a good leader. So being a good person, I think, is more important than winning at a young age. For me, someone who's played basketball, ever since I was 6, I would say 95% of my friends came from basketball, one way or another. If you're playing a sport and you're not a good person, you're probably not gonna have many friends. I think it's important that kids learn to be a good person.
Who is the coolest person that you have met?
Man, I got a few. I'm going to tell this first story because it is close to me, but also close to anybody in the Augusta, Georgia area. So when I was 10 or 11 years old, I was practicing with my travel team. We were preparing for the national tournament in San Antonio. And I was playing with the team that was based out of Adairsville, Georgia. And so we would practice twice a month in Adairsville, twice a month here in Augusta. We were practicing on a Sunday at May Park Community Center, and the community center is usually closed on a Sunday, and somebody's knocking on the door, and first they just ignore it, and they continue to knock, and finally somebody goes to the door, and when they go to the door, it's James Brown. And James Brown has a film crew with him, and he's showing the film crew where he grew up in Augusta. And so he comes in, and I meet him, the whole team meets him, and they tell him what's going on. And James Brown actually funded my AAU Nationals. So he wrote a check to the team, and he covered all my expenses. So that was the first one. But I think, I have a few people. Michael Jordan, being able to spend time with him for 2 weeks, working his camp in Santa Barbara when I was around 19 years old, just to be around him every day and play against him, that was cool. But later on, I would say this guy, meeting Prince. Prince was probably the most interesting person. It was crazy because, you see him and he's short and, he's wearing these different clothes and he had this very deep voice. It just shocked me, but he was a big Minnesota Timberwolves fan, and so I got to meet him and talk with him on a couple of occasions. That was pretty cool.
What is your craziest story from Duke?
When I was in college, I was a big prankster, and we lived in the student housing area where I knew how to pick the locks on the sliding glass doors of all the apartments. And so one day I knew my teammates, they had friends over. They were in the living room, and so I grabbed a roll of fireworks and I lit them, and I slid open the glass and I threw the fireworks. So that's definitely, one of the crazy stories. And they had some friends that didn't know me, and they didn't, they're screaming and running. They didn't know what was going on. So, I did a lot of pranks.
I think that's all the questions that I have. So thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your entertaining stories.
Thank you. I enjoyed it and can't wait to do it again.